Today's video, I was hesitant to make. Nobody wants to hear about this, but I know it's true, and I think it should be discussed. So let's discuss it. I grew up going to church. I was actually a youth pastor for a good portion of my life. Even though my family and I don't go to traditional churches anymore, my youngest son has actually been going to traditional churches. He's tried quite a few in the Tennessee area, and this last Sunday, I went with him. I noticed something that I had noticed in my past experience with churches, but this time it just stuck out like a Thor thumb. Like a Thor thumb. Anyways.
He ought to look at his own spare tire.
This is the point in time in the video where I think I'm gonna look at the YouTube analytics and everybody's gonna fall off. No one's gonna keep watching as soon as I talk about what I'm gonna talk about. So I'm not literally talking about alcoholism. I know, just totally threw a wrench in it. You're like, what? What the heck? Is this clickbait? Did you just screw me over with this video? Did you just lie to me? Well, kind of.
People don't want to know the truth in the Bible. If you want to turn the channel, go ahead, fool, turn the channel.
Please stick with the video, and if you hate it, if you think I didn't make a good point, if you think I'm stupid, let me know in the comments.
If you want to learn something about God, shut your mouth and listen to me for a minute.
I am talking about something that I think is equally detrimental, hurtful, harmful, whatever word you want to use, and that is, get ready for the clickaways, fat people.
Fat pastor.
It's a lie of the devil. I shouldn't have said that.
I know. Just 1 second. I know you're about to click away because, like I said, you think, stupid health video. What is he talking about? Just give me 2 more minutes of your time. See if what I'm saying makes sense. It hit home for me in a big way. I thought maybe it would for you too. I mean, not you specifically, but you for sure. One of the things I noticed in this church in particular in Tennessee is that there were a lot of fat people. I'm sorry if saying fat people is like, oh, it's offensive, it hurts, like, whatever. I think it's a big deal. Not only were there a lot of overweight people, but there were a lot of overweight people like in leadership, on the stage, leading prayers, part of the pastoral staff.
Fat pastor.
I don't mean just like a little overweight, gotta lose some pounds. I mean like obese, literally obese, and quite a few of them severely obese. Let me put this out there real quick, little disclaimer. I am the last person to talk about anybody who's out of shape. I have spent the majority of my adult life far out of shape, in the obese range, like fat, lazy, out of shape, totally me. I've been working on trying to change that about myself lately. I'm still not there. I've got a long ways to go. So I'm in this category too. I'm not like calling other people out on something that I can't relate to or I'm not in the same boat on. I'm totally there. And I think that's why it hit me so much harder, is because it's something I'm actively working on. And I'm not saying that those people that I saw weren't either. Let me just make my case though here before I lose you completely. Drinking adult beverages, alcohol, is somewhat of a controversial topic in some churches. I've worked on the staff of churches where it was not an issue at all. In fact, I worked at one church that brought kegs of beer and cigars to their men's group every week. You can think of that what you want. I'm just saying it's not an issue for all churches, but there are still some churches that have very harsh views, very strict views on the use of alcohol.
I mean, give me a break.
And usually that line is divided by drinking responsibly and then taking it too far to where you're drunk. That's usually where the church is like, that's where it's bad, is when you become drunk. Knowing that that's a truth for a lot of Christians and a lot of churches in general, this hit me upside the head when I walked into this church. I walked into the lobby, they had, I can't even describe to you how big it was and how delicious it looked. I wanted to dive into it so bad, but they had this big round table and it was, I mean, as tall as I was, filled with donut boxes. Like, oh my gosh. I love donuts so much. But I've been doing the 75 hard, which means I've got to stick to a strict diet. So I had to repel the donuts, which was pretty dang difficult because they were just there. They're free with free coffee. So I walk in for the main service part of the church and I look up on stage and I'm like, dang, there are so many people in here who eat. Here's the thing. I'm trying not to make this like judgmental because again, I'm in the same group as the people I'm talking about.
Doesn't matter what they think.
But here's where the issue came up that I thought was interesting. While most churches condemn to some degree alcoholism. Like, they probably wouldn't allow people on the stage in leadership roles to be up on the stage drunk out of their minds. But they will let people up on the stage who clearly can't control the intake of food that they're consuming. And I know you might look at the two and be like, well, they're drastically different things. How can you compare the two? Let me explain how. Food and church kind of go hand in hand if you've ever been in a church. There's potlucks, there's bake-offs, chili cook-offs, barbecues, and, in the case of this church, free donuts available every Sunday. I've been in many churches that give out candy as prizes for kids. Food is just a big part of church life, whereas alcohol, not so much. I don't see many open bars at churches, although if they had one, that'd be the church for me. When I look at the causes of alcoholism, they can be extremely destructive, life-changing, life-shattering for yourself and for people around you. When I look at obesity, they can be extremely destructive, life-changing, life-shattering for yourself and for people around you. Isn't it the same thing? I mean, statistically, just statistically, more people die from heart failure and food-related causes than they do directly from alcohol. I've been very close to some people who were extremely obese. Not only did it dramatically impact their life, but it impacted almost everyone around them. I mean, look at just a father with their kids. You can probably relate if you're in the same boat as I've been. Not only do you miss out on so much with your kids, but so often a family where both the parents are severely obese, it's likely that the kids will follow suit and become obese themselves. Now, there's extremes in both cases, of course. There's a lot of people who drink and it doesn't affect anybody around them in a negative way. The same case can be true with food. For the most part, even people who are a little bit overweight, like I can relate to, or even pretty overweight, they can be okay. But there's extreme cases on both sides where it can literally ruin a person's life and destroy the family's life around them. The point is, whether it's food or alcohol, they both highlight an area of a person's life that they do not have control over. An area of their life that can pose some extreme risks. Literally, life detrimental, death kind of risks. Yet we look at alcohol as like, yeah, you gotta be careful with that stuff. I've seen so many families torn apart by that. When we look at food, let's bring in every donut we possibly can into this service every week. The weird thing is that being in the church world, one of the things that I heard a lot when this kind of conversation would come up about alcohol and is it okay to drink and how much can you drink? The overall rule that I heard from most churches is that the reason we don't bring alcohol into the church is because a lot of people are dealing with that. They had an addiction to alcohol. And so we don't want to like interfere with their path to recovery. And yet, when it comes to food, we're like, nah, it's fine. You're trying to lose weight? Eat a donut. They're free. You can have as many as you want. No big deal. Food addiction. I hate calling it that. It sounds stupid, but you know, like it's a true thing. It is very real. It's mainly sugar for people. Sugar is so extremely addictive and can literally destroy your life. There's so many obvious, clear, understood health-related issues that can lead to death when you eat far too much sugar, far too much just bad stuff, processed food, all the garbage that most people eat every day. We think nothing of it. And the church, totally okay with it. Come up on stage, you're in leadership, you can be the pastor. Severely obese people, which I think, when I look at it through that light, to me, it's not a whole lot different than somebody on the stage who's clearly addicted to alcohol. Maybe they're not drunk today, but you can tell they had a rough night last night. And as soon as they get off the stage, they're gonna go straight to that bourbon. Sounds pretty good to me right now. Most people when they're at a church service, what do they think about? What are we gonna eat after this? Usually, it's probably not something great. Anyways, I'm not trying to beat up on anybody who overeats. I certainly do the same thing. I absolutely love food, and I'm fat. I gotta lose a lot. I'm working hard to do it.
You'll probably end up in hell for it.
The more I lose and the better shape I get in, the more judgmental I become. I don't mean that, but I do mean the more aware I become of how detrimental me being just somewhat overweight has been to my life. I was that way for so long, I forgot what it was like to actually be healthy and to be at a weight that I should be. And I'm not even there yet. I'm just slowly getting closer to where I should be. And the closer I get, the better I'm dramatically feel better. I mean, my whole world, it's not just a physical thing, it is a mental thing too. For one to be like broken of that deep rooted connection and that desire and that addiction I had to sugar and just bad processed food, to have that gone is amazing. But also just wakes me up Literally, my mind is so much clearer, sharper, faster, more awake, more with it. It changes so much more about my life than I ever realized. I guess the point of this video is that we should take our health more seriously. It's something I knew that I needed to do, but I did nothing about it. It's such an accepted part of our culture, especially in the church world. I think that alcohol, especially in the church, has such a negative condensation to it, has such a negative view. Like if you tell somebody at church, like, yeah, I drink a lot.
You'll probably end up in hell for it.
And people look at that like, oh man, that guy, we've got to get him some help. We need to intervene in this person's life. They're addicted to alcohol. Meanwhile, that same person just ate 35,000 calories in one meal.
Food is something that I've wrestled with a lot over the last number of years.
I think the reason it bugged me so much seeing it in the church is that it's such a, what do you call that? What's the word when like you say one thing and totally do the other, but you don't see the other as being as bad as the other thing that you're condemning and making a big deal out of it? What is that? But I think that's what bugged me so much. People who have really strong opinions about one thing and then go out and do the same thing. And you're like, you're doing the same thing in your life. And they're like, no, I'm not, because food isn't seen as a bad thing. I guess this video was more of a rant. Something I've noticed. Our health is the most important thing in the world. Because if you value your world and the people you share your world with, then you should value your health as much as anything else. Because without your health, especially if your health leads to you dying early or just living your life at 30% of what it could be, you are missing out on so much more than you even realize. I am 100% in the same boat. It's extremely difficult and terrible to try to get healthy. It is not fun at all. But man, the good encouraging thing out of this is that I realized your body, I guess the younger you are, I'm gonna be 40 this year, so whatever you consider that age to be, my body still has recovered so fast from decades of mistreating it with food, just trying to do everything I could to practically destroy it. It's amazing how quick it just pops back to like trying to be healthy. Because I think your body always is trying to be healthy. It's trying to make up for all the crap you're sticking in it. It's doing its best, but at some point, something's gonna give out. You got bad knees, you walk more than 3 minutes and you're just out of breath. You take 3 steps up a stairs and you're just like dying. Your kids wanna go play and you're like, I'm too tired today. Your brain is soft and slow. You can't focus very long. You're just tired most of the day, especially in the afternoons. You have no motivation to do anything. Your wife might not say it, but she pretty much thinks you're ugly. I think that's true. You're not looking very attractive for your wife anymore. And you don't know what that stuff's gonna do to you down the road. You may be healthy now, you may be fine, you may be like, I've got good genetics, I'll be good, but you don't know. It could cause some major issues. And worst of all, what kind of example are you setting for your kids? Showing your kids that, yeah, your body doesn't really matter, I don't really value my life that much. I'm just gonna mistreat everything about my body, I really don't care. I'll be fine. If I die early, at least I enjoyed life. What a stupid thing to say and to teach your kids. You really don't value them that much. You don't want to spend as much quality time with them as possible. Like, we should be working to make ourselves the absolute best that we can be. Because if you care about your family, you love your family, you should be setting the best example of how to take care of yourself. Because in taking care of yourself, you can take care of them better. And you could potentially, of course we can't control anything, I could walk out the door today and die. But I have no control over that. I do have control over what I do to myself, what I put in my body, the care I take with it, making myself the absolute best I can be for my family. That's my goal. They deserve nothing less. They don't deserve some fat, out of shape guy who doesn't care about himself. They deserve somebody who's trying their absolute best to make themselves the best they can be, both as an example to your kids and so that you can be the best person possible to be there for your family, to do the things they want to do, to be available both mentally and physically as best as you can be. I think that is so stinking important. Anyways, that was my thought as I went to church this week. That's what I got out of it more than anything else, is that pile of donuts, a bunch of fat people on stage. Sorry to keep calling them fat people. I'm in that group. I can make fun of fat people because I'm one of them. Okay, if you made it this far into the video, you can give me 30 more seconds for my sales pitch at the end. It's gonna be great. Best part of the video. I need something from you, really bad. If you could help me share this video with as many people as possible and send people to this channel in droves. Is it groves or droves? Either way. I'm trying to grow this channel as best I can, but there's only so much I can do and so much YouTube will allow me to do. Really, it comes down to you watching it. How much you engage with the video. That's why thumbs up and comments and likes and shares. All that stuff makes a difference because it tells YouTube, oh, people like this video. Let's push it up more. So if you could help me with that, do everything you can to help me get the video out there, man, I'd appreciate it. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I've been posting to Instagram a lot more lately, so you should do that because what's the point of posting if nobody sees them? I also have a TikTok. I'm starting to post to quite a bit, and we'll be posting even more. And finally, last announcement, like they give at churches. I have another channel here on YouTube. You can just search for Blackburn Homestead. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the channel. I was posting pretty regularly there, and now I've just switched over to shorts and probably live videos so I can keep content going and it doesn't take up too much time. You could check that out. It just follows our progress here on our Tennessee home as we rebuild this place and create a tobacco farm. That's all. That was good. Or terrible. What'd you think?